Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I am Jake Johnson, and you're watching Untethered Live on a Friday night. It's Friday night, baby. Finally Friday. Back again. Here we are to talk about whatever you wish. To do whatever you wish. It's Friday, which means we're keeping it loose. We're hanging cool. We're doing nothing important. You know, just being together, which is important in and of itself. But the world's kind of going crazy, and I don't really see the point in being all serious because the world is going crazy. We live in clown world, in the upside down world. We've got the Bud Balk bitter program going strong. Everybody's boycotting Budweiser because of their choices. I don't blame them. I don't care one way or the other because I don't drink alcohol, but for the people that do, I understand why they're upset. Kid Rock filmed a video of him shooting Budweiser cases with a AR-15 or something. Might not have been an AR-15. It was some kind of gun. And Travis Tritt dropped Budweiser off of his rider on his tour, technical rider, which gives him free Budweiser basically, but he got rid of that, so he doesn't want to not pay for Budweiser, and on and on and on. So, you know, get woke, go broke is having the desired effect, as one could tell. Seeing it in movies, I'm seeing it in television, I'm seeing it in the real world. Nike is going through it right now with the same problem that Budweiser had, and they're going to get similar results, I would imagine, although they're doubling down. Budweiser's kind of backpedaling a little bit. We'll see. It remains to be seen. But I will tell you this. If you get woke, you go broke. It's as simple as that. The vast majority of Americans don't like that nonsense, and they'd rather just keep things on a face-to-face level, on a surface level. You know, you build product, I buy product. We go our separate ways. Transaction complete. None of this beat me over the head with your politics nonsense. It's not why I'm here. That's the vast majority of America. There is a small number of people with very loud voices that feel differently, but they are a very small number of people, and why they have so much control over everything is beyond me. I don't know how they manage that. It can't be as easy as they got jobs in the media, because that seems to be the case. You know, but whatever. Walter, welcome to the show, buddy. Good to see you. Come on in, take your shoes off, set a spell. We're just chit-chatting. Nothing important. And then there's the indictment of our former president, Donald Trump, where Trump pulled a him card. Trump pulled a Trump card. And he said it like it was, like he always does. And it has utterly baffled everybody. They don't know what to do. The case is falling apart. The judges are going crazy. The prosecutors don't know where to turn. It is pandemonium out there right now. And as always, Trump didn't do anything wrong. Therefore, all of the attack is wasted effort. And when they get to the place where they have to prove something, there's nothing there to prove because he didn't do anything wrong. It's been one thing right after another, Russia, the tax problem, the tax papers problem, the collusion, the bringing classified documents to his personal residence. It's just over and over, twice impeached. It just keeps going, and every single time they come up against the exact same problem, we don't have anything to get this guy on. Surely he's as crooked as we are. Surely we can find something that he did. No, because he didn't. For somebody as rich and as powerful as Donald Trump is, he is surprisingly clean. This man has been investigated more than any other human on planet Earth at this point for going on 8 years now. They have been up one side and down the other and in all the crevices. There's nothing on the guy, or they'd have found it already. They're grasping at straws because there's nothing they can do to stop him. They don't understand the game he's playing because he ain't playing the same game they've been playing all their lives. And they don't know what to do about it. You can see it on their faces. It's not just the politicians, it's the news media. He plays them like a finely tuned fiddle, and they fall for it every time because in the news media, they have this little problem. The old days, they used to use a slogan, if it bleeds, it leads. Drama sells, sex sells, violence sells. Anything that gets the attention is like clickbait. I think that's what they'd call it today. Well, Donald Trump is that en masse. He is the living personification of clickbait. And they can't help but look in his direction every time he speaks. And it works out for him because it's free publicity. He doesn't have to pay for that. That's how he became president. He literally just said some crazy shit, and everybody turned their cameras on him. Free publicity. That's the smartest thing I've ever seen. And he knows it. It's not an accident. He's doing it on purpose. Diego, what's up? Come on in. Welcome. It is a good day. It's rainy, but good. We're just chit-chatting about the weather. No problem. Come on in and voice your opinions. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen, though, because he'll say some crazy shit. Sir, you called all women fat, disgusting pigs. Only Rosie O'Donnell. Funniest shit in the world. Everybody saw it over and over and over and over again, all throughout that week. That's all you heard. Grab him by the pussy. Whatever he said. Yeah, whatever. It's the same principle over and over, and he gets them every time. It's like they can't figure it out. The only thing they could literally do is not tune into what he's saying. But here's the problem. Since Donald Trump hasn't been president, ratings have tanked because everybody watches to see what Donald Trump is going to do next. Good and bad. People that like him and people that hate him, they're alike watching the shows. When he's not in office or when he's not on camera, nobody cares. Are they going to watch the bumbling guy that can't get a sentence out and fall upstairs? No, nobody's interested in that. They want to see the calamity. They want to see the train wreck. So they have to film him. They can't not. It's like they're caught in a vicious cycle of their own making. It's quite hilarious. And I hope that quasi-political people can appreciate how funny that is, because I'm not telling you one way or the other. I don't care. I don't have a dog in the fight. But just to sit back and observe it, to see it happening, and to understand what's going on here, it's hilarious. It's the best comedy show that's ever been produced. And that they're not intending to be funny, but it's funny. But everyone who has a problem with Trump never had a problem with Bill Clinton. Go figure. I'm saying, yeah, they're gonna indict Trump because his lawyer gave some money to a porn star who threatened Donald Trump to keep her quiet. Donald didn't even know about it at the time. Afterwards, he found out about it and then tried to pay the lawyer back the money, and the lawyer didn't accept it. So there's literally no crime there, right? But That's what they're indicting him on, 34 counts of that, on the assumption that because he did that, which is 2 years past its expiration date, the statute of limitations is up by 2 years, so they couldn't prosecute him on that if they wanted to, but they're using it to make it a federal case because by doing that, he's clearly covering up a more sinister crime. That's what they're saying. Yet, everything that Hillary Clinton did, nobody's got a word to say about that. And she actually committed crimes. What about Barack Obama, who literally committed murder, literally killed an American citizen on purpose to prove a point with a drone? Nobody says a word about that. But a payment that was made 6 years ago to a porn star, we got to get the whole country involved in that one. It's ludicrousy. It's literally, we live in the upside down world. We live in clown world for real. We have gone off the deep end. We are in la la land. Nobody is using any common sense when it comes to that sort of arena. And it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing to watch. Like I said, it's vastly entertaining. It's the best comedy show ever produced. And they don't even know they're being funny. They think they're being serious. Look at all the shenanigans that Nancy Pelosi did. Let's get Trump for making an offhanded payment to hush somebody up, which is literally the cost of doing business. And everybody that is famous is guilty of it because everybody that's famous, there's somebody that wants to get a little money out of them, so they threaten them and they give them a little hush money to make them go away. This has been going on for generations. Everybody's guilty of it. But they're going to get Trump on it. But nobody wants to talk about Nancy Pelosi and how she is quite literally the best investor on planet Earth. Everything she has ever done in the world of investment has come up aces. Because she sits on the board of people that pick the investments. Or her husband does. And so she knows ahead of time what's going to hit and what doesn't. Like when that thing with the computer chips, when they moved from Taiwan or to Taiwan, she bought a bunch of stock in that and then sold it high. Made millions of dollars on that deal. Nobody wants to talk about that. That's real insider trading. That's real criminal activity, white-collar criminal activity. Nobody wants to bring it up. Hunter Biden lied on a piece of paper to get a gun, lied on the form. That's a federal crime. Nobody wants to talk about that. Admitted to doing drugs while owning the gun. Also a federal crime. Nobody wants to talk about that. On and on and on and on. Joe Biden and his brother and all the Chinese deals that they've done. Nobody wants to bring that up. But we're going to get Trump on a payment he made to hush a girl up 6 years ago, a year before he was president. It's amazing. Utterly amazing. All of this, by the way, is speculation. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. Go vote. Everything YouTube tells you is true. The vaccines work. We've been to the moon. Elvis isn't dead. Whatever you want to think. Pay attention to reality. I'm just talking nonsense. So go ahead. Strike me down for that. I'll be on Rumble tomorrow. But, whatever. If you can't talk about what's right in front of your face, what directly affects the country you live in, we have big problems. And if you're doing the striking down, you're the problem. I used to find the great stock buys, hoping the market gets bad again so I can do it again. The market was just going up for 20 years. And bad for small guys, yeah. Well, what you need to do is figure out a way to find out what's in Nancy Pelosi's folder and mimic everything she does. If she buys it, you buy it. If she sells it, you sell it. You'll be a millionaire before the year's out. I don't know how you'd go about doing that, but that seems to be the play. Again, I'd like to stress, don't do anything illegal, don't do anything violent. Ever. For any reason. But, yeah, we live in a funny world. We've got so much money going overseas to the country that shall not be named that we're printing it. And yet nobody knows what's in Fort Knox. Or if there indeed is anything in Fort Knox. Interesting. The economy's going bad. We've sold off all of our reserve oil to the uttermost parts of the world. And we're now having to rely on Saudi Arabia to give us what they think they want to give us at the price they want to give it to us at, which makes the oil go up. Yet we won't drill in our own country, which is loaded with oil from Texas to Pennsylvania and Alaska. Loaded with oil. Enough that it could last the next 1,000 years if we were burning it like it was crack rock. And then it'll replenish itself over time, so we may never run out. But they won't drill any of that. We've got to rely on Saudi Arabia, who currently is not on speaking terms with us because of Biden. Trump was in their tent waving swords around and hanging out with the sheikh or whoever he is, but they won't do business with Biden proper. I wonder why. I wonder why Korea is acting up all of a sudden, and why Russia is acting up all of a sudden, and why China is acting up all of a sudden, yet they weren't doing that 3 years ago. Or at any time before that. I wonder why. I'm just wondering out loud. I don't have any answers. I wouldn't presume to think it was anybody's particular fault. But it is. Nope. Find the one good company in a depressed sector and buy that. When everyone else figures it out, it will explode. I hear you. Or know some guys at GameStop. That's always a good bet. It's a fascinating world in which we live. I truly hope that we can solve this problem come the next elections cycle. I don't know that we'll be able to. I've been advised by the overlords not to speak on the subject, but I'm going to speak on it to some degree because I'm a human being who lives in this country and I have a right to. But I'm not going to tell you who you should vote for or that, your vote counts because it's not my place to say so. Because they did under Obama and Biden is doing what Obama says. Joe is the perfect idiot for Obama's third term. Yeah, I agree with that to some sense. I don't agree with that 100%, but I do see the parallels. And I do see the string pulling. So there is something to that sentiment. I just don't know exactly how far it goes or how far they're willing to take it, but there is something to it. However, Trump was quite literally the wild card. They didn't expect him. He wasn't supposed to win. And when he got in, bringing the everyday person's mentality with him, they didn't know how to handle that. And it upset the whole apple cart because they've got a specific way they do business, and it's worked in their favor this whole time. And now all of a sudden there's this Yahoo in there doing things for the people. We can't have that, says the government. We can't have any government for the people, by the people, of the people. This is a democracy, which is short for Orwellian authoritarianism. But who am I to say? I'm just an idiot with a microphone. Notice that I'm going back on everything that I say. There's a reason for that. It's because I'm being censored heavily. If you want an uncensored version of this show, go over to rumble.com/UntetheredLive while you still can, because they're trying to outlaw my very right to say that on my live stream as we speak, the new guy in charge. That's in the new updates, and it remains to be seen how far they can push that. But go over there and hit the follow button and help me build up the clientele over there on Rumble, and then we can start live streaming there instead of here, and nobody will censor me. Glenn Beck did a demand for records. Good. Somebody needs to. Somebody needs to hold these people to account. Somebody needs to delve in and find answers to questions. All his joint chiefs of... Wait a minute. All his joint chiefs of staff meetings every morning, but all living ex-presidents can sit in. When it's over, Joe takes a call from the Obama. It's real. It may be. I don't know. All I know is that there is some level of truth to that statement, as I said earlier. I don't know how far it goes or how deep it goes or how much they can get away with, but I know when they can, they do. And there's a lot of confusing things going on right now that shouldn't be a priority, but yet they're going on. A lot of things, like they'll blame one side for one thing, and then the other side will do that exact same thing, and nobody sees it. And I'm wondering how long that's going to go on before somebody goes, just a minute. If we can't do it, they can't do it. I don't know. The whole thing is a mess. It's confusing. It's hard to understand. And quite clearly, the government knows what they're doing, and you should always listen to every word they say to you because they know and you don't. I'm waiting for the red light to come through the window and shine on the back of my neck. There it is. Right there. See it? Terrifying. We live in a terrifying world, folks. It's all right, though. No need to be afraid. It's just a thing. That's why we have music, because music is universal. Everybody likes music, except those that don't like it, and they can go suck an egg. Speaking of music, what did you guys think of the segment Wednesday night? Did you like that? Hopefully you did. I tried to make it entertaining. Or were you here, Walter? I don't remember. If you weren't here, we did a segment where we're doing a new segment where I play a new guitar every Wednesday, and then I learn a song, and then I'll turn it over to everybody and let them pick the song. That way they know I'm not learning it beforehand. I'm learning it in real time and show how a musician learns a song, which is not something you see a lot of. You always see them teaching songs, but you never see them learning it. And I think that's an important side of it. Get an idea of the process. And that's a real popular segment if you're musically inclined or if you like to watch musicians work. If not, it's probably boring. Where's everybody at tonight? I swear this channel's being throttled. It has been a slow month, let me tell you. Slow month. Maybe everybody's just broke. I was at one. I missed the second learn a song. Okay. Well, did you like it? Do you think I should keep doing it? And you can always go back and watch it later because it's on YouTube and Rumble and Spotify. I think it's on Spotify. And that may just be biblical stuff on Spotify. I can't remember. But it's definitely on Rumble. And also, it gives me an excuse to play all my guitars. I don't hardly ever play them all. I've got my favorites that I take out and play. But most of them sit in the cases all the time. So doing it this way, I get to pull out a different one every week. Beat the rust off of it. It's nice. Fall back in love with them. That sort of thing. I've got a couple that I absolutely love. Like, have a relationship with, love. And one of them is this white one over here that I've been playing this week. That's my baby. Very heavy, all custom electronics. I did all the neck work myself, and it plays like butter in your hands and has a sound like, just perfect. It's got the perfect telly sound. Very twangy and very harsh. I like it. I like it a lot. And it's a Series 10 from the 80s. I don't know which year in the 80s, but it's an 80s model. It's probably early 80s because the material it's made out of is real heavy. And around 85, 86 is when they started changing student model guitars to cheaper materials because the economy went down somewhere in that area. And during the week, I'm at my mother's at the farm. Some nights she is on a year about life in general, and I miss out on stuff I want to watch and chat. Yep. Miss out on stuff I want to watch and chat in. I got you. I understand, but mamas are important, so you do what you got to do. It's good that you're taking care of your mom. I'd give anything to have my mom back around. So enjoy it while you can. It's a rainy night here in North Carolina. It's cold and rainy outside and windy. As summer progresses, I'll be missing dinner and making hay till after midnight. Well, hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? Love that mama. Take care of the farm. Well, how many cattle you got? A lot? Or what's the hay for? Horses or cattle? Or billy goats? I don't know. If you are one of those that watched the new Star Trek Picard Season 3, it is drawing to a close, and so far has been a pretty good show. As compared to the other Star Trek garbage that has been put out since 2009, it's a diamond in the rough by comparison. It's an average show, but by comparison, the other shows make this one look great. So it's worth it. Horses. My brother-in-law has cattle. I got you. I love horses, but they look very expensive to take care of, so I don't have any. I got a steel horse, though. Iron horse. Mine only eats gasoline. Which is cheaper than hay, I would imagine. Anyway, I've been watching this season 3 of Star Trek Picard done by the good director Terry Matalas, which is different than the first 2 seasons, which were done by Alex Kurtzman and I forget the other guy's name. He's an author, has a big beard. Can't think of his name. Anyway, it wasn't good. Now I'm stuck on that guy's name. I can't think of it. But anyway, they were terrible, and they were stupid, and they were not very good sci-fi because they had nonsense all throughout it, like sonar in space and space flowers, that sort of thing. Giant tentacle monsters. It was ridiculous. So this one, they Alex Kurtzman went off to make another TV show, and right on the tip of my tongue, Chabon. Michael Chabon, is that it? Anyway, something Chabon. Anyway, he got fired, so they gave it to Terry Matalas, told him to go do whatever he was going to do. And he brought in all the old guys from the original series and from the next generation and had them work on it with him, which they should have done in the first place, but didn't bother to do. And so they produced something that actually looks like Star Trek, and it was very nice. Very nice to see. A lot of member berries. I like to call them roddenberries. That's not my word. I can't take credit for it. The guys at the Popcast coined that phrase, but I like it, so I'm taking it. I've had horses since I was a kid. They're not expensive if you grow their food. I hear you. I had a cat that cost more per year than my horse. He only ate gourmet cat food. Well, that's why. Fed him table scraps, he wouldn't have that problem. I have 11 cats, all of which are feral, and they eat whatever the dollar store has on sale. Because that's all I'm going to feed them. There's too many cats anyway. I've turned into the old crazy cat lady. But you got to show love somewhere, and when you live by yourself, it's kind of hard to show love to something, so I figured I'd take care of them. Be part of my good deed of the day. And they're keep the mice away. They're good guard cats. So, got to be worth something. And I can even pet one of them. The rest of them won't let me get anywhere near them, but I can pet one of them. And another one is coming around. He ain't quite let me pet him yet, but he'll get close to me. But every time I reach for him, he'll swat at me, like gently, like don't touch me, Not like in a mean way, but in a way that's letting me know you don't want me to get any closer. But I'm going to keep working at him until he lets me pet him. Don't make the mistake of giving them expensive food. They will never go back. I hear you, and I won't. I don't even eat expensive food. They ain't getting it, that's for sure. I'll either feed them table scraps or whatever the cheap stuff is at the dollar store. And they'll like it because they ain't getting nothing else. I got one horse left. She's about 28, retired, but still a sweetheart. Aw. I'd love to ride a horse. I kind of think it would come natural to me because I've been riding motorcycles all my life, and I got to think it's similar as far as balance and stance and all that. But I'm sure that the reins are a little more complicated than handlebars, but I still think it would come natural. I was on a horse when I was about a year old. Somebody held me up, put me on a horse. That's the only time I've ever been that close to one. It's very similar. I thought it might be. Probably just as hard on the crotch. In the back. A lot more bouncing, though. Especially if you're trotting. I see them guys riding a horse professionally, and they've got this thing that they do where they bounce against the horse, it looks like. So they're bouncing up and down and hitting the horse every time it trots up. And that's got to be uncomfortable. I can't imagine anybody wanting to ride like that, but I guess it looks proper or something. That's why they do it. That's the English horse riders. A good horse will turn where you lean. It really don't need reins. I got you. I was always told that you pull the rein in the direction you want him to go. left or right, or there's a different kind with the English riders where they got 2 reins in each hand, but I don't really know how that works. That's posting. It's not terrible. I got you. It looks terrible. It looks like you need an adjustment from a chiropractor when you get off it. But unfortunately, I don't know a whole lot about horse riding, just little bits that I've gleaned over the years of watching other people do it, you know. I did grow up in a rodeo town, so I grew up around horses and bulls and such, but I never got involved. Just watched from a distance. I was actually going to join the rodeo for a little while and be a bull rider, but long about the time I was making that decision is when Lane Frost got killed with the horn, and that made the decision for me. It was enough. I don't want nothing else to do with that. You know who Lane Frost is? Yes, you pull the reins, but a really well-trained horse that likes you, you don't need anything. Yeah, that's the key, ain't it? You're supposed to make a bond with the horse. Makes it easier to do everything with them if you bond with them. Yeah, that was bad. It was bad. That made the decision right there. I went the other direction from rodeo. But there was a period in time when I could have got involved. I was very close to joining. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because the shape of my back now, I wouldn't be in good shape if I was in a rodeo. That bond is better than most friends. Yeah, a horse is very loyal, right? And dependent. I know a lot of people that own horses talk very highly of their horse, you know, the bond that they have. Now, I got to think that that's something special. I've also adversely heard of people that did not bond with their horse, or for whatever reason the horse didn't care for the person. Nothing but trouble. Bucking them and kicking them and refusing to go places and just terrible behavior. So I got to think that's an important part of the experience, is to bond with the horse. At least let it know you ain't scared of it. Well, it is a very slow Friday night. The whole time we're at 9:08 and there's only been 2 people here. It's one of them nights, I guess. I came and then I did a podcast. Haha. No, just kidding. I wish. Most people speak highly of their horses because they don't want to say it's a horrible monster. Nah. Can't be that bad. They're so sweet. I know they bite, though. They can bite. I think it'd be great to have a horse. I wouldn't have a place to put it in my little yard, but if you had the room for it, I don't see why you wouldn't want one. Especially out there where MVTV lives, ain't nothing but an expanse and mountain ranges. That'd be the place to have a horse. He lives out in the middle of Montana somewhere. That is the perfect place. I wonder what it's like being on a horse when it gets spooked. Like runs across a rattlesnake or something. I bet that's scary. Rear up on you and start running in the other direction. My motorcycle don't do that. I can trim my horse's feet in the middle of the field, not tied up, and just walk up and say hi. Most horses have to be tied down and held. It's probably because they don't know what you're doing to them. Probably think you're trying to take their feet off or something. You imagine what a horse thinks? I don't know that they do think, but if they do, I would imagine it's terrifying. They can't see real good, I don't think. If they're anything like deer can't see real good either, and they got the same kind of eyes. So I'm guessing they have about similar vision. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I don't know anything about horses. But I know you're supposed to keep their hooves trimmed and shoed, because if not, they'll go unruly. And I have seen a horse that they didn't do that to, and he had long fingernails like a person and couldn't walk. That was gruesome. You ever seen that before? An unkept horse? That's a hell of a ride when a horse is spooked. I had one that was afraid of frogs, walked around a pond every day until it got over it. Wow. Yeah, it's weird how big animals like that are scared of such tiny things. Elephants are scared of mice, famously, and they will freak out if a mouse runs up to them. It's foundered. It's from too much grass. Is that what causes that? All I know is that it was a gruesome sight to see them with nails that long and know that they hadn't been trimmed in so long that the horse couldn't even walk anymore. I've also seen a sheep that had grew so much wool that it couldn't move anymore. It was just a big ball of wool. His feet couldn't even touch the ground. Now that was a sight. They had to rescue that thing or it would have died out there in the woods. Somebody ran across it baying in the woods, followed the sound until they found it, and it had grown so bushy that it couldn't even bend over and get a drink of water. Now that's a sheep. I imagine they got some wool off of that thing. I didn't know that would happen. I thought that they just grew to a certain length and stopped, like hair does. My hair grows to the length it is, and it stops growing. It don't grow anymore. So, yep, I had a pony that had that problem. The bones in the hooves roll forward, causing the front to grow out. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the hooves were attached to the bones. I thought they were like fingernails or, made of the same stuff, keratin. MVTV, what's up, buddy? Oh, there you is. No sign at normal time, but I'm here. Hey, Walter. And everybody else. You had to put them down? You couldn't fix that? You didn't get a notification, MVTV? I put one out. 7 o'clock, like I always do. I'm telling you, YouTube is throttling me or something because it's been too slow. Way too slow by comparison. The only people that really come this month are people that know about it and come whether they get a notification or not, like you. But ain't no new people coming. I don't like that at all. I wonder if it's because I've been talking about Rumble so much this month. But I can't help it. If you're going to throttle me and censor me, I got to go somewhere else. I don't want to. I'd rather stay right here at YouTube, but they're the ones making it complicated, not me. Yeah, I got one, but I was thinking 6:30, and notification was here by that time. I got back 10 minutes ago from the field on goose duty check. Interesting. Why was you thinking 6:30? I've literally never came on at 6:30. It's always 8:30. I had it mostly fixed, talking about horses, by keeping him in, but my parents let him out into the pasture, and he was on the ground a day later. Wow. Oh, 6:30 your time. I got you. I keep forgetting you live in a different time zone. A couple of time zones away from here, actually. What happened with the goose? MVTV. I saw you posted a video about a goose, but I didn't watch it yet. How about fill us in on what's going on with your bad self? Something about avian flu? I came across a Canada goose by itself, all sick looking in a field in snow versus grass. FWP believed it was a terminal avian flu. Ugh. Well, good thing you called somebody in about it and don't touch it. And if you do, wash it very good. I'd hate for you to get that. You can catch avian flu, by the way. So they were looking for a warden, none within 200 miles, and gave me an exemption and request to put it out of its misery, and do not like to kill God's creatures. I hear you. Well, maybe you can nurse it back to health. I saw the notification for the second video on it, but saw Jake was on and figured I'd watch Jake and then your video. There you go. I saw it, but I was getting ready to go live and just hadn't watched it yet. I loaded up, but I spotted a nest and a mate in the trees next to it, thus explaining its position and some behavior. Well, maybe you can nurse it back to health and it'll live. Maybe you won't have to kill it. Just make sure you got some grub worms or something to feed it. They don't like milk or anything like that. But you might could feed it some table scraps. He might eat that. Walter says, I get that. I've had to put down a lot of sick critters. Never happy about it. It ain't never a fun thing to do. Then the damn thing got up and both left over to the creek 200 yards away, and FWP Lab is sure none could walk at that stage. Well, he may not actually have avian flu. They may have misdiagnosed him. He may just have a broken leg or something. Or he might just be tired. So I recorded as it rolled out, but held fire. May be okay, monitoring the situation. You're a good man, MVTV. I'm glad you didn't just immediately kill it, because if it happens to survive, you got a life you just saved. You know? That's worth something in my book. Never take the easy way out if you don't have to. 0 physical defects seen besides sick behavior. He might have ate something. You never know. Might be sick, but it might be a different kind of sick. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily have to be avian flu. And it may very well be. I don't know. I can't see it. Nor would I know if I did see it. But if you can save it, that'd be awesome. I did not want to do that, but part of the responsibility for living here could infect the rest of the birds and tons of mammals. Well, as long as you don't let him get away, put him in a cage or something until you nurse him back to health. Geese mate for life. The other goose will die of loneliness if the other dies. Same with crows. Same with people, too. You ever heard of broken heart syndrome? It's not often, but it happens. It's kind of rare, but it does happen. Yep, my mother. My dad took his own life a year after my mom died. I can't talk about something similar with a duck. Poor thing, losing its mate. Well, maybe you can reunite them if you know where the mate is. Maybe you can help him along when he gets to feeling better. Or she, or whatever it is. Don't let it go back to its mate, though, if you suspect it's got avian flu, because like you said, it could infect all the birds around there. You don't want that. Bird pandemic. Birdemic. Sounds like a horror movie made by a very low budget. I mentioned that to FWP, and they said divorces do occur. And that's true. That is true. Not likely in the bird kingdom, but it is true. I don't think animals have divorces. But they might. Who knows? Duck got killed and his mate was frantic around it. Hit by a car. Haunts me to this day of its distress. Yeah. When you get a glimpse into the inner workings of animals and realize that they're not just dumb, reactive creatures and they actually have thoughts and feelings, it's a rather impressive thing to see a glimpse of that, which most people don't ever see because they're not paying attention. But if you pay close attention, they certainly do have behaviors. Like my cats, for example. They're very social. They have a very specific hierarchy. They even take turns eating at their proper times. You can watch them. You can set a clock by them. Mama eats first. She'll eat just a little bit, just enough to curb off the hunger, but not enough to get full. And then she'll back off and let each one take turns eating, and then she'll go back and finish the rest. I thought that was fascinating because I didn't know that cats thought like that, but they do. Kind of amazing. I was afraid if I shot it right in front of its mate, I would have some lingering problems, despite I wouldn't hesitate if needed. I hear you. Having grown up on a farm, says Walter, I can tell you some animals are dumb. Yeah, I know. Not all of them, though. There are some pretty dumb animals. Some of them you can actually see the wheels turning, you know. And some of them you can see the smoke coming out of their ears trying to put two and two together. Me and my son saw a crow the other day. Watched it for a little while. That's a very smart animal, a crow. Smart as a 3-year-old child. That's a fact. And it's quite interesting to watch him. He's a big one, too. MVTV says, I got to keep that in mind, Walter. And sorry for yours. The same thing is due soon with my parents. Dad is pushing 90, and she could not live without him. Mm-hmm. Walter says, white turkey chicks catching raindrops and drowning. That's hilarious. Sad, but hilarious. I would have to see that one. I can picture it, but it just don't make sense. I saw a test on crows where food was in plastic water bottles, and they figured out how to use a stick to get it out, plus something about filling it with water. I forget, they're smart. Yeah, I saw the same documentary. And what it is they put a piece of food down in the bottom of a water bottle, and then they put a thing of water beside it, and the crow has to spit water into the bottle to get the thing to float, and then take a stick and tip the bottle over and pull the seed out or whatever it is. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty fucked up when you lose $100 in a bird. Yeah, I would imagine so. Or maybe they committed suicide. You ever think about that? Maybe it was just too much for them. They just couldn't take the world anymore. Meantime, says MVTV, average temperature all last week was 25 with 2 snow forecasts Tuesday. 25 with 2. Snow forecast Tuesday. Only dusted, but it was cold. This week, 60 today and 83 for the weekend. Well, that sounds nice. Get you some t-shirt weather. But super ice jam flooding, developing. Not in this valley, though. I hear you. Well, it's cold and rainy outside right now. It's probably 45 degrees or something like that. But for the past 3 days, it's been hot and sunny out. And now it's cold and rainy and icy. So go figure. Take that, global warming. I'm at 2 inches of snow. I got you. Yeah. Average temp all last week was 25 with 2 inches of snow forecast on Tuesday. I got you. That makes more sense. It's nasty outside right now. I don't even want to go out there. I didn't even go to town and get anything to eat today. Just too nasty. Just eat the hot dogs I got and go get something to eat tomorrow. Yeah, Walter, heard of avian flu with the egg prices and now realize it a bit more. You think avian flu has anything to do with the egg prices? I thought it was because of the trickle-down economy. Everything cost more, so they jacked the price up. Inflation. But it could be because of avian flu. I don't know. I have been watching the politics, though. They just get more hilarious by the day. You couldn't write this stuff for real. Hell, I got to walk on mostly non-soggy ground for a while. Avian flu is the stated reason for the egg prices. I did not know that. Learn something new every day. It was sunny and 70 yesterday, 50 and cloudy today. We got schizophrenic weather. You mean schizophrenic weather? I don't know what cytophenic is. I have to look that word up. You meant schizophrenic. Gotcha. Okay. Called that one. Nailed it. Now comes the countdown to rattlesnakes. Supposedly, not until it stays a minimum of under 60 for a few days, but alert is in the air. Well, rattlesnakes are cold-blooded, so I don't imagine they're moving around a lot if it's cool. But if it warms up to their body temperature, which I don't know what that is, I would say they'd be out running around. And I noticed that you had a few rattlesnakes on your videos, so I imagine you're swamped by them around that area. That's got to be scary. Watch where you walk. And get you a 410 scatter gun Got to get the boat opened up soon. Boat weather is coming fast. Amen. Like a switch. So nice to walk outside without a ton of clothes. Life just exploding everywhere again. Yes, spring is a wonderful time of year. Unless you're worried about getting bit by rattlesnakes every time you take a step. And what you need to do is be thankful every day that you don't have fire-breathing asps like they did in the Bible. You think a rattlesnake bite's bad. Well, fiery serpent. They could be on fire. I don't know. They're either on fire or they breathe fire. I don't know which. You got a 22 Montana? Hard to kill a snake with a 22. It's easy to shoot a 22. It's not so easy when you're panicking. You shoot all around it and maybe blow your foot off. Need something with some girth. Some spread. Yep. 22 mag if I walk outside. Snake shot in 22 is good stuff. I pawned my shotgun and need another one. I hear you, brother. I've done that too. I pawned my shotgun and then went through custody battle while they were in pawn shop, and they put me on a list, and I couldn't unpawn them. I went to get them back, and they wouldn't give them to me. Said I failed the FBI test. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, are you going through a custody battle by chance? I said, just as a matter of fact, I am. He goes, well, that's why you're on the list. Can't get a gun. I thought that was kind of shitty. I lost a nice pump action 12 gauge and a 30-06 that my mama bought for me. I'll see if I can find you some snake shot in a 22 mag, says Walter. That'd be nice. My first snake video, it rattled so loud, but was invisible in the grass. I emptied a cylinder at the thing anyway. Pause. Then rattling started out again. Big lesson. Yep. It's hard to shoot a snake when you're panicking. That's why you need a shotgun. Take out a couple of feet area. Sawed off even better because it spreads more. That's why I say get a 410 pistol. I had one of those. It'll nearly break your arm when you pull the trigger, but it'll kill a snake. Nice, Walter, says MVTV. Yeah, it would be nice. Send the man some bullets. I got a pre-World War 32 caliber 6-shooter that I found in the bottom of a barrel full of plumbing stuff. And it was just down there all rusted up, and I went to oiling it, and I soaked it in oil for about a year, and then I broke it free and cleaned it up and re-blued it and found some grips for it and put it back together, and I had to order a spring for it that causes the trigger mechanism to function. And I got that, and then I ordered some bullets, and that's a pretty badass little gun. It's accurate to a fault and loud as all get out. It'll make your ears ring when you pull the trigger. 32. Supposed to be just a little bigger than a 22, but it's more powerful by a long shot. I need to get, I think I was 120 grain bullets. I need to drop that down to 110 or 80 or something like that. It's way too strong. All I want to do is poke a hole in somebody with it. I don't want to blow my eardrums and take out a wall while I'm doing it. But it's a sweet little gun, though, and it's pre-World War, so it's very old, and it's made by Smith & Wesson. It's got to be one of their first runs. MVTV says, my problem is all of them have been surprises. So I have an agreement with them. Warn me, and I won't shoot. Agreed? Spread the word. Yeah. That's about like them snake handlers up there in Tennessee. You know, they go to church and handle the rattlesnakes because the Bible says to tread on serpents. it's speaking in metaphor, meaning be wiser than the serpent. It doesn't mean actually handle the snake, because here's a news flash. The snake hasn't read the Bible. It doesn't know it's not supposed to bite you. Regardless, I left all of them alone except for the one that was just too close and came after me in my yard, in my own yard. I don't feel obligated if out in the fields it's their home. Yeah, if you're in their house, you play by their rules, but if they come in yours, blow them away. I agree. I don't like to kill indiscriminately because, as I've mentioned on the channel before, every life form in this world is symbiotic to something else. Everything requires something else to survive, which means that rattlesnakes have an important function in our ecosystem. I don't know what they do, but they do something, I assure you. And they provide for something else. So I don't like to kill things unless I am trying to get something to eat or unless I'm protecting myself. Now, when I hunt, I only kill one animal because that's all I can eat. And I don't go for the trophy, I go for the food. So I always make sure that whatever I kill has been through a breeding cycle, so that they don't have any young out there, and they've had offspring previously, so that they've spread their seed. I always try to make sure of that. You get an old buck or a very young one or the other. Or it hasn't lived at all. I've had my ass saved too many times, so I feel obligated, says MVTV. I hear you, buddy. And also, when I hunt, I'm thankful for my food. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you even bother hunting when you can just go to the grocery store and get something to eat? Well, because hunting is a skill, and if you don't practice it, you lose it. And the way the world is going, it's a skill you'd probably be worthy of having. You know what I mean? Because at some point, the bottom's going to fall out of our economy, and there's got to be a way to get some food. And hunting is it. So I do believe in hunting. 22-hour shot shells will drop a pigeon at 50 feet. It will wipe out a snake. 22 mag will put a snake in another dimension. Wow. What I don't like to see is those big game hunters that'll kill an animal and then get the head and leave all the guts and the meat and everything laying on the side of the road, or maybe take the pelt. I don't like to see that. When I kill an animal, I try to eat everything that's edible. To me, game hunting is wasteful. Very. That's just my opinion, though. But I do like to hunt. I just don't make a sport out of it, you know. I try to be respectful and use it as it was intended to feed the family. And I never let it go to waste. I always eat what I kill. And I'm hyper aware that when I kill an animal, I'm taking something out of the ecosystem, you know. So it's worth thinking about that when you're hunting, what you're going to take out of the system, what it can handle. You know, in this area, it's actually a good thing to hunt because we have an overabundance of deer. It's actually good for the deer population to hunt, as long as you do it within reason. If everybody goes out there and kills everything that moves, obviously that's not good for the population. But if you draw tags and you do it right and you kill just the ones that need to be killed, cull off the older ones, it's actually good for the deer population. Much like coyotes, when they sense dying off in their civilization, they produce more estrus, which makes them have more babies. It's actually a good thing for them. Rattlesnake eat rodents. Get eaten by hawks or eagles. Well, there you go. There's the ecosystem right there. I do not hunt. I'm not anti-hunting, but I've seen some horrible things from jackasses just wanting to kill something and thinking it makes them tough. Right. I don't like that either. Like I said, when I hunt for food and to hone my skills as a hunter and a butcher. I do all the work myself. I don't farm it out to other people. I don't take it to the butcher. I do it myself because that's part of the process. That way I'm hyper connected to my meal. I know where it came from. I was responsible for putting it there. It's a relationship with your dinner that you don't normally get by going to the grocery store. And for that, I think that's the right way to do it. Hey, April, welcome to the show. Glad you dropped by. Sorry my phone was in charging mode. I hear you. We're just sitting around talking about nonsense. Like a huge bull moose, bleeding blood on the street, being driven around in a shitty pickup truck by a couple of jackasses displaying it around town. I could have shot them. I hear you. And that meat probably went to waste. Yeah, I ain't into that either. The only reason I would ever shoot a moose is if I had a whole family to feed. A big family. Just for me and my kids or whatever, a deer will do just fine. You can eat off of that for almost a month. One deer. Possibly 2 months. Rattlers keep down the rabbits too. Then the bull snakes go after the rattles. Rattles at time. Walter says, Montana, I don't hunt either. I only kill predators and sick animals. Well, as I stated earlier, I think it's a good skill to have, especially in today's day and age, because you never know when the economy is going to drop out and you're going to need to eat. And some people might say, well, I'll start hunting then. Well, if you start hunting then, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to have to learn how to hunt, where to hunt, what to use for hunting, learn what the rules are, learn how not to get shot by other hunters, that sort of thing. It's good to have those skills and be good at it. And that's why I do it. And I only do it once every 2 or 3 years. I don't do it every year. GD Disgrace. Magnificent creature taken down by ambush, probably. I'd support hunting more if the odds were more even for the hunted, that is. Again, I ... am not judge those who hunt responsibly. Right, well, I don't ambush animals. I don't go sit in a tree and wait for them to come out. I get out there with them. They got an even playing field. If they can get away from me, they certainly can. And likely, if things crashed, the Buns and Phineas the Pheasant will find their status changed fast. Absolutely. Yes, when things crash, that's when veganism goes away. That's when, all this feminism and wokeism goes away when things crash, because then you got to eat. Then you got to rely on the man that can get the food, I always think that's funny. Bill Burr has a joke about it. He says there's no feminists in a house fire. They'll twist those little blue hairs up into a braid and go, I'm just a girl. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Be all tough one minute. The house catches on fire. It's a different story. True, MVTV, says April. Of course. But, no, the only hunting I do is about every 2 years I'll go out and I'll hunt a deer and kill it. And then I'll bring it back to the house and do all the dressing myself, and then do all the butchering myself, and then pack it myself, and then cook it myself. So that way I can keep sharp on the skills required to do those things. And I like deer meat, so there's a twofer. I've been feeding Phineas at a trough, and he stalks by on a regular schedule. Plus the bunnies hop up looking for their winter survival bread. Here, bunny, blam. Yeah. Well, you do what you got to do, man. Of course, the Bible tells you not to eat rabbits, but I'm saying if you're hungry, eat what you got. That's one thing I ain't going to be is hungry. If I get hungry enough, my cats will turn into a sandwich fast. I am not bashful. I'm not going to go hungry, I can tell you that. Wow, I just saw something. What? What did you just saw? What was it? What happened? Man, it is raining cats and dogs outside. I went outside a minute ago and stepped in a poodle. Walter says, I'm not against hunting and can drop a groundhog at a very far distance, but sitting and waiting on a deer as the sun rises, I'm not looking at all the work that needs to be done is not relaxing. I hear you. Like I said, I don't sit in a deer stand. I get out there with them. MVTV says, I ran out to give the bunnies a piece of bread. Cats are out. I looked out, and Binks, the youngest, is walking past the bunny about 3 feet away. None cared about each other. Well, that's cool. Wait till they get hungry. That bunny will be dinner. That's one thing. A cat is a cold-blooded murderer, and don't think he ain't. He would eat you if you sit still long enough. I promise you that. Yes, indeed. Bink settled down on a stump to watch the fields. Bunny is 5 feet away, nervously munching, but the cat ignored it. The cat's probably full. Probably ate a bunny earlier. I know my cats are pretty docile until I don't feed them for a day or so, and then they go ravenous, and they'll start hunting things in the yard, and I'll be out here watching them catch mice and murdering them. Yes. Ha ha ha, Jake. Binks was raised domestically. That don't matter. Mom Lucy, though, decimated the rabbits on arrival. About 12 were killed, half dragged in. Binks is not much of a hunter above mice, and now Lucy is too fat to move fast. I hear you. Golly, that's funny, says April. Walter says, I had cats, raccoons, and possums all eating together all summer until the raccoons started eating the cats. Yep. That's another thing animals will do is honeypot another animal. I've seen them do it. Coyotes are terrible at it. They will straight up honeypot a dog or a cat. They'll act like they're friends. They'll come up to the fence with their nose down, be all humble until they talk the cat or the dog into jumping over the fence, and then they'll straight up jack that sucker right there on the spot and eat them. I've seen it happen. Trust me when I tell you that cats are murderers. Even if they don't do it right now, they're thinking about it, I promise. Lucy is a barn cat for years on her own before I got her. She's a killer. Uh-oh, really? Raccoons eat cats? Oh, yeah. Raccoons eat just about anything. Raccoons eat cats? Oh, yeah. Raccoons eat anything that's slower than they are. Jeez. That's the way of the animal kingdom, baby. Have you ever seen a deer catch a bird and eat it? I have. You didn't think deer would eat a bird, but they'll damn sure jack one up if it's on the ground. So does Alf, LOL. Well, there's a deep cut. You reached all the way back to the 80s for that joke, didn't you? Ha! That killed me. before you get up for that final snack, I want you to know, hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications when I'm going to be online. Smash the like button. It's right in front of you, and it helps the channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people. Won't you do that? Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family, make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you dig what I'm doing and you can see the value of what I'm trying to build, won't you consider supporting my channel? And you can do so by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband, or if you're a CashApp user, you can go to $jakejohnsonband. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to you too, because we do live in a reciprocal universe. With that, I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support and confidence. And now, let's round out this video by taking all your questions and comments. All right. Walter says, I just turned and picked up a cat by the back like an ear of corn and bit down. Yep, I like that hairy guy. Huh? Say what? Oh, Alf, the hairy guy. Gotcha. MVTV says, only time I saw Lucy flustered was when she was waiting at a mouse hole, then suddenly surrounded by about 20 redneck pheasant females. Big harem. Walter says, I had dead cats as all over. I shot 40 raccoons by winter. Wow. MVDV says, she froze, confused and holding still as those big birds moved through. The males are too big for her in her mind, and she runs from them. I don't blame her. I'd run from something bigger than me, too. Welcome, Jonas Tripp. Come on in. Thanks for the stream. No questions tonight, but I got to run. Cheers, man. Cheers, Jonas. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate you. MVTV says, that's stunning, Walter. I have yet to see a raccoon in the wild, though. Never saw one here. Walter says, the house was for sale. Realtors came up with the potential buyers, and they all ran because of dead cats. That's terrible. Yep, we got raccoons around here, but in Georgia, where I'm from, they're real bad. They're everywhere. And they will get in your trash. They will kill animals. They will do all kinds of things, and then go wash their hands. So they're very finicky about washing their hands, but they'll eat almost anything. April says, bye, Jonas. Are you one of those Backstreet Boys or whatever? No, One Direction. That's what it is. Are you one of those? Similar name, I think. Tends to be a red flag for new buyers. Oh, yeah. Night, Jonas, says Walter. Did you guys enjoy the stream Wednesday? The Learn a Song segment that I'm trying to get going? If you did, let me know, and I'll keep doing it. Every Wednesday. OMG. So is the house still for sale? Probably not. This was probably a while ago. I'm just assuming that. I had a raccoon once that would answer the telephone, and every now and then it would drive my truck into town and buy groceries. When it was in the mood. Yep, I liked it a lot, says April. Well, good. I'll keep doing it. I enjoy it. And it gives me a chance to play guitars that I don't get to play very often because they stay in the cases all the time. I'll do a new one each week till I run out of guitars, and then I'll recycle. MVTV says, I found a cat skeleton in coal shed. You saw that, I think, Walter. clued me into the cat I should have seen. You're joking, right? What are you talking about? Who's joking? Me? No, I'm not joking. The house sold 35 years ago. See, I figured that was the case. Wow, I didn't know squirrels had fangs. Some of them do, not all of them. I'd make a bad archaeologist. Some squirrels have fangs, and most squirrels will bite the nuts off of other male squirrels so they can be the male that dominates. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize about squirrels. But most squirrels have their nuts removed at an early age if there's a big male around. Oh, yep. It's just a weird squirrel behavior. The vampire squirrels, OMG. I want to suck your nuts. What? Huh? Thanks for that image and knowledge. You're welcome. I aim to please. If only they could aim to please. You know what else has fangs? Sometimes? Deer. There's a deer in Russia that has fangs. It's like a saber-toothed deer. Big fangs. Like 2 inches long, 3 inches long. Look them up. They're creepy looking. Vampire deer. Or just Russian deer with fangs. Now I'll feel more confident when the subject comes up at the saloon. You're such a smart ass. Scary. Aha, okay. I'll stay away from squirrels. I mean, you probably should, because they carry all kind of diseases. Especially in the summertime, they have what's called wolves, which are little worms that embed themselves under their skin. You don't eat squirrels in the summertime because of that very reason. Always check your squirrel before you eat it. When you kill it, look at its skin. If it has little red bumps all over it, you don't eat it. It'll make you sick. OMG. Ew. Yep. I have tried to feed raccoon babies with feed for sheep so they stay clear of the chickens, but they always go after the chickens. And I have to shoot them. Siberian musk deer. Wow. However, also noted are their small size, average of 22 pounds, but the fangs aren't that big, are they? I don't know. I've never seen one in person. I've only seen pictures of them. They look like they're about 2.5, 3 inches. No thanks. I'll starve. Yeah, there's some little deer too. And there's some in Mexico also. I forget what they're called, but they have a hunt for them every year. Little tiny deer. And some in Texas, I think. Needles aren't that big, but ouch. Point was unclear. Point? Pun intended, I guess. The wily jackalope. No, this is a deer, not a rabbit. And I can't remember what it's called. That guy that goes on Joe Rogan all the time talks about him all the time. That meat eater guy. I can't think of what they're called, but they're little deer anyway. Little tiny, like pygmy deer, I guess, almost. Those are not flies here. I'll probably wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and scream out the name in dead sleep. But I can't think of it now, so. I've been having that problem all day. It started with a Star Wars movie I couldn't remember the name of. The one that takes place just before the first movie. And it was filmed about the same time as Solo. It was one of those little offshoot Star Wars movies. Not part of the trilogies, but, you know, independent, like Solo was. I can't think of the name of it to save my life. April says there's some creepy animals in the world, like Kevin Hart's comedy. He said a raccoon came up in his window in the dark night, and put his hand on his nuts. That may not have been a raccoon. That may have been like an unwanted visitor. I don't know. But that's funny. Big mystery just happened. Hold on, I will explain, says MVTV. Did a bunch of rabbits disappear? And you have a cat that looks like he just got out of Red Lobster? With his other hand, he pointed at him and said, "Bang, bang." Damn, what a raccoon. He's a gangster. Gangster raccoon. Raccacooey. Or Raccoony. That's funny. Old Kevin Hart. My power is pay as you go. Hey, mine too. Just like a vending machine. I have no deposit is why. So if it gets below 0, it cuts off until more is put on. Yep. My tax refund is late, and I was counting on it. That's terrible, MVTV. I hope you don't lose your power. He didn't take the garbage out that night. Yeah, mine is pay as you go, too. I usually pay $25 a week and keep it on. And you have 1 day after it hits 0. They won't cut it off immediately. They'll give you 1 day, usually. Or they do me anyway. Yours might be different. So I was getting down to $10. I only use about $3 a day. Our rates are good. But damn, I had no option in getting forced to call my brother or something 2 days ago. Yes, sir. I understand those moments. I try not to get in that situation, but it happens. April, half the summer I'll be sleeping in the grass out in the fields. A raccoon or a coyote won't get close enough to touch me. April says, I want some KFC. That sounds delicious. I haven't had KFC in a long time. Get a big old bucket of chicken and just pig out. Why won't they, Walter? Why won't the raccoons get close to you? Because you build a fire? Big worry. I'll have money next week, but no option now. So yesterday, I check it to see how long I have, and suddenly there's $300 on the account. Imagine that. It's almost as if somebody's looking out for you, ain't it? Yummy, says April. How about that? Well, I'm glad you got taken care of there, MVTV. Yes, fire. I'm sure that keeps them away. Walter says, I sleep light outside. Things bite. Not fun getting bit. I hear you, brother. I just build a fire and curl up next to it. WTF? Oh, landlady worried about her pipes and not looking good for me. I mailed her in thanks. trying to make arrangements to pay it back, but she reports it wasn't her. But it doesn't matter who it was, does it? As long as you got what you needed. Remember we had that conversation about paying it forward? If you don't pay back who you owe, pay somebody else. What the deal is you do good when good is done to you. It's a reciprocal universe. Everybody is symbiotic to everybody else. We all need each other. Take care of somebody. Very smart thinking. I'm a bit slow tonight, LOL. Huh? Me too. I'm about ready to fall asleep. So who dumped $300 in my account? Could have been the Lord. It could have been a bank error. It could have been a secret admirer that just wants to make sure you're well taken care of. Who knows? I'm pretty sure you can trace it from the account. But do you really want to know? Look, I can accept grace, but just dropping anonymously out of the sky? I understand that. Sometimes it's hard to accept it when it comes your way. But it came your way. That must mean you're doing something right. Whoa, that's a blessing, huh? That's the way I see it. Now, if somebody fesses up to it, obviously take care of them when you have money. But if nobody fesses up to it, just be grateful you got it. And do good for somebody else when they need it and you have it. Those things just do not manifest like a ghost, or do they? Well, it looks like they do. I'm very confused. Don't be confused. Be grateful. That's the appropriate expression of gratitude. I've told you many, many times that since I started my podcast, I've not needed anything. I've wanted a few things, but I've not needed anything. Because every time I have need, it gets fulfilled. Period. I've learned to quit questioning it. It just happens. It'll happen for you too. There's no magic. There's no mystery. Somebody put it in your account because you needed it. Or maybe it was an error, but either way it worked in your favor. Well, I'm not calling them, as they may well find it was a mistake on their end. Just be happy it is there, says April. Correct. Be grateful and move on. Simple as that. And be sure to thank the Lord for your great luck. Because after all, he designed us after him, and if we need appreciation, stands to reason he does too. Yeah, it's just money, says April. Give a little love where you can. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. I'm grateful for you. Sometimes it gets pretty tight out here in the world. Sometimes you don't know where your next dollar's going to come from. But I assure you, if you're doing right, it will come. MBTV says, oh, I'm happy, but I want to recognize the person at the very least. Odd, as I was surrendering my anxiety with the, there will be water if God wills it. Thank you, God. Well, then you're acknowledging the person by thanking God. Trust me on that. Anytime you surrender your will to God and he delivers, you should take note of that and be thankful for it. Because there are people that pray and pray and pray and nothing ever happens. Obviously, there's something wrong in their life. That's why God ain't answering them. But when you're on the right side of things, things just kind of happen. And I promise you that. I promise you it's the truth. There's no sense in being freaked out about it. Breaking away for a few to call my friend Carol. Right back. I hear you, brother. Do what you got to do. I'm about to get out of here anyway because it's 10 o'clock. But I just want to make sure everybody's got a chance to say whatever they need to say because we'll be back on Sunday for some Bible study. I wish I could have, Montana, but I've been unaware of your situation and kind of broke. Mm-hmm. We all are. It's a rough world out here. Okay, MBTV, much love to you, says April. Yeah, Walter, it's a rough world, and everybody's struggling right now. It won't always be that way, but it's that way at the moment. So if you find yourself in a moment of abundance, help somebody out if you can, because to be sure, they're struggling too. But don't feel bad if you can't, if you're not in a position to do so. And it ain't just about money either. There's other things people have need of. You might have an abundance of food. Or you might have an abundance of lawnmowers. You don't know. If somebody needs, it'll generally present itself to you. And if you have it to spare, make sure they have it to spare. And that will always do good by you. That will always work in your favor if you live life with that in mind. April says, Walter, you're so kind. I'm eating raisins with nuts in it. Good. Watch out for those squirrels. They'll put their hands on your nuts. Kevin is in Georgia, and I'm all alone. Me too, honey. Me too. All alone, and it's raining outside, so I can hear the constant drizzle. It's especially lonely. That's why God made good movies and podcasts. All right, boys and girls, it is 12 past the hour, and I'm due for a nap, so I'm going to go to bed. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for keeping the chat popping. Thank you for sticking with me on this slow Friday afternoon. I'm grateful, and each one of you have an important place in my heart and on my show, and I can't tell you how much it means to me that you're here with me, and I appreciate you. So I just want you to know that. I'll see you guys on Sunday with some Bible study. See if we can't get on through that book of Deuteronomy. See if we can't learn some more stuff. April says yes and yes. Mm-hmm. You go to bed. I love you. Hug. I love you too. Hug. Take care of yourself, and I'll check the mail tomorrow. See what's up. Have a great night. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching.